The market right now in March of 2023 in Utah is much more buyer friendly than it has been. Have you been on the fence about purchasing a home and 2023 is your year? Well, congratulations. It's an awesome investment and you will never regret making the decision to purchase a home. Today, I want to talk to you about 9 steps in the home buying process so that you are clear and can manage your expectations as you're going through the process. I'm Stacey Christopherson with Coldwell Banker in Farmington, Utah, and I am the team lead for C4 Real Estate Team. Be sure to hit subscribe because we post videos every Monday. Hit like on this video if you find it helpful. Also, when you're ready and you want to discuss real estate, the very first link down in the description is to Calendly. If you click on that, you can go in and you can make an appointment. We'll give you a call. We can just talk, answer questions, whatever you need to make yourself feel comfortable about purchasing a home, or just if you have in general questions. So again, today we're going to go over 9 steps in the home buying process. If you're a first-time home buyer, or you haven't bought a house in a while, maybe you haven't bought a house in Utah, wondering what the process is, that's what we're here for today. Step number 1 is going to be talk to your favorite realtor. Hopefully that's one of us on the C4 Real Estate Team. If you don't have a realtor, there are a lot of resources. Your very best resource is going to be the people that you know that have purchased a home in the area. They will have had an experience, good or bad, and can give you that agent's name or not. Referrals are by far the best way to get an agent in the area that you know you can work well with. The place to double check for realtors too, if you go to Zillow and look in realtors, you can see reviews. If they have any reviews, read their reviews. It's a great way to get to know someone before you make the phone call. Next step, super important, and really we can't do anything until this step's done, which is to get pre-approved. Most experienced agents are going to have a lender, a local lender that they've worked with or that they can recommend to you. I certainly do. We've worked together for 15 years and he's my go-to guy. He's not my only guy, right? So if I give you his name and it doesn't work out, all you have to do is communicate with me. And then of course I have other lenders, but you want to get pre-approved. You need to know how much your monthly payment's going to be, what you can afford based on your credit score, your income, and your debt to income ratio, which is also called DTI. Getting pre-approved is huge. When we write offers, you have to have a pre-approval letter submitted with the offer. So if you skip this step, we're kind of stuck until you can get it done. The third step is kind of the most fun because that's when we go house hunt. And by now we've communicated, you've told me the area you want to be in, the type of house you want to be in. I have sent you houses online. You've looked at them, you've saved some as favorites. And now we get to actually go get boots on the ground and get inside houses. You will be amazed, 2,200 square feet in a tri-level, what that feels like versus 2,200 square feet like in a Rambler. So it's super important that you get inside the house. I do, just so you know, I have a ton of clients that are military and can't get here for whatever reason to house hunt. I do make house tour videos for out-of-state clients, just a little FYI. But anyways, house hunting, step number 3. You got to get in them, you got to smell them, you got to get the feel for them, see the layout, location, all of that stuff. The next step, number 4, is to write the offer. Now, you do this with your agent, right? They're going to pull comparables on the house to see what has sold in the area and for how much. The market right now in March of 2023 in Utah is much more buyer friendly than it has been. So we're still coming in right around list price, but all of your contingencies are in place, which is fantastic. It's a very buyer friendly contract in Utah. So writing the offer, you've got the real estate purchase contract, which is 6 pages. You might have an addendum asking for some closing costs or asking some special things. If you're a VA buyer, we've got a VA addendum. We put all that together, we send it to the other agent. Typically we'll give them like 24 hours to respond. If they get multiple offers, that 24-hour window goes out the window because they gather all the offers and then they come back and decide what they want to do. In any case, it takes anywhere from like 24 to 72 hours to either get an answer or get under contract once you write the offer. Once our offer is accepted, the first thing you want to do is have a home inspection performed. Check out this video popping up here. That is going to tell you what a home inspection does. We highly recommend that you have an inspection performed, whether it's new construction or existing construction. It is a huge PDF report that the home inspector does. That is the nuts and bolts of the house. You're gonna know if a light switch doesn't work. You're gonna know if the toilet's loose. You're gonna know if the roof is missing shingles, as long as it's not during the winter, especially this winter when they can't get on the roof because there's snow. This is an out-of-pocket upfront expense to you as the buyer. If you were to cancel based on the home inspection, it's non-refundable. You don't get that money back. It is an investment for your investment. Again, it's gonna give you the whole rundown of the house as it stands right now. Once we get that report back from the inspector, the next step in home purchasing is to negotiate repairs. We're doing the home inspection to get just a FYI about the house. But if there's any big ticket items, and I'm talking like major appliances, furnace, AC, water heater, needs a new roof, foundation issues, we need to negotiate those repairs before we move forward. In the event that the seller and you cannot negotiate the repairs to be fixed or a credit or whatever, as a buyer, you can cancel the contract as long as your due diligence contingency is in place and get your earnest money back. As important as it is just to get a snapshot of the house, it is also where the seller has to have full disclosure on anything that they know about the house. This is why we recommend the inspections though, because if big ticket items come up and we can't negotiate with the seller, let's move on to the next house. After we negotiate the repairs, we're almost there, you guys. We're in the home stretch. The next thing is the appraisal. The lender orders the appraisal, but you as the buyer paid for it. However, it's rolled into your closing costs at the closing table. So you don't necessarily pay cash for the appraisal, but you do pay for it. It's rolled into your closing costs. So the lender orders it. It is required if you are taking a loan out for the home to have an appraisal. The appraisal is different from the home inspection in that the appraiser's going out to ensure that what you have agreed to pay for this house, it's worth it. You don't want to overpay for a house, obviously. And so they pull the same comparables that myself or your agent should pull when you write the offer, so you know you're in the ballpark. In the crazy, crazy seller's market that we had, appraisals were waived and were kind of insignificant because people were offering so much over the list price. They knew they were coming in with cash with the difference. But as a buyer, now with your appraisal contingency back in place, should you be under contract for say $500,000 and the house appraises for $485,000, we go back to the listing agent and to the sellers and renegotiate that sales price. If you choose to not negotiate the sales price, you have to come up with the difference, which is in this case $15,000 between the appraised value and what we're under contract for. Should the appraisal come in under what we're under contract for and the seller won't renegotiate, you can cancel and get your earnest money back if that appraisal contingency is in place. The next step is the final walkthrough. The final walkthrough is, number one, to go back through the house, make sure no huge gaping holes have happened to the house. It's still standing, it hasn't burnt down. But then also just to confirm that what the seller said they would do has been done. When you negotiate those repairs from the inspection, those have to be done prior to closing so that we can come do our final walkthrough. And again, the final walkthrough is to protect you as a buyer, to ensure that the seller, like I said, has done what they said they would do. If they haven't, there's a couple different remedies and we kind of cross that bridge when we come to it. And guess what? The last step is closing on the home. So on that day, you typically will go to the title company. You need to bring a picture ID. As a buyer, most likely you will have some funds to wire in, closing costs, that type of thing. So you will have either initiated the wire or you'll get that number and initiate that wire after closing. VA loans take about 45 minutes, conventional, a little bit less than that, cash or like super fast. Sign all the paperwork. Now in Utah, the day you sign papers doesn't necessarily mean that's the day you get the keys. This is huge. So don't schedule your movers for the day that you sign papers, because in Utah, that's called settlement. Closing is when it funds and records. So if everyone signs paperwork after like 2 p.m. on a Friday, it is likely you will not fund and record until Monday. So just make sure your agent and you schedule that closing to fund and record on the day that you have all agreed upon. Settlement, signing paperwork, funding and recording, it's actually closing, and that's when you can have the keys, not when you sign the paperwork. Again, subscribe to our channel for more cool informative videos like this one, and I'll see you next Monday.